Hi there, this is Billy Earl on Eastern Shore Politics, and we are thrilled to have Michael Wisner here with us today. He is a local realtor, he is a longtime resident of the city of Salisbury, and he has been following this closely. And we're going to ask him some questions about why it is that this project is germinating the way that it is. Michael, thank you so much for coming by. I know you're busy. This is a hot issue, and there appears to be movement on the part of the population looking at this and thinking to themselves, you know, parking is critical. Parking is critical to people who run businesses, to people who want to go out and have dinner, to people who do a lot of things. But are the needs of the population really being served by this project? And as it moves towards the appellate level, and then I guess even if they kick it back, what's the long-term prognosis for the city if in fact this were to happen?
I think the city has made a major error in selling off almost all its surface parking lots. It sold off about 800 parking spaces in downtown Salisbury, and where we used to have a bit of a surplus of parking, we already exhibit are experiencing a deficit. It's not quite noticeable yet because at this point the surface parking lots that have been sold and transferred, deeds have been made and recorded that there are new owners, but the city has a right to use those parking lots until construction develops.
Okay.
But once construction develops on 5 of these major parking lots that are no longer owned by the city, and the parking literally disappears, people are going to realize that there's a severe shortage of parking.
Right.
Now, what the Salisbury Town Center Apartments want to do is build 222 more units on 3 of the existing parking lots. That's going to bring in about basically the need for 333 parking spaces,
Right.
which is going to, the parking spaces don't really exist, so the city has agreed to build a 450 car parking garage.
Okay, and
But
who's going to pay for this?
The city will pay for it.
Okay.
The estimated cost per parking space for a garage runs from $25,000 to $50,000 per space.
Ouch.
So the minimum it's going to be, 10 million, probably up to 15, possibly 20, depending on what how the construction bids come in. It's going to be a huge expense. It's going to have to be paid for and maintained by the city, but 75% of that garage space will be used by these new apartments if they build as planned. Currently, they are trying to go around the Court of Appeals opinion
Right.
of density because they proposed to build 77 units per acre and the zoning only allowed 40 units per acre.
Okay, going from 40 to, what is the new number? Is it 80?
The current number is 40.
Right.
The number of units that are allowed inherently is 40, has been for decades. Knowing that, the developers put in a project for 77 units,
Okay.
more than double. Since it was struck down by the Board of Appeals and also the Court of the Wacomico County Circuit Court approved that decision of the Board of Appeals, the developers are trying to skirt the courts and the Board of Appeals opinion and go to the Planning and Zoning and the City Council to double the density, not just for their project, but for the entire downtown area, the Central Business District, which incorporates all of the downtown area. And if they get their way, then the density will go to 80 units per acre for the whole downtown area. There's still no parking for them. It's going to exacerbate the problem. And currently, there is no requirement that developers of residential units provide any parking at all. So all of that parking is going to funnel to the few lots that are left,
Right.
a couple of cursory lots, and some on-street parking, and into the new garage and the old garage. So it's just going to, as the word was said, strangle downtown. It's just going to make it almost impossible to park downtown.
Right.
Not only for the existing units, but also for the new people coming in who will populate these apartments.
I can only imagine the effect that'll have on businesses downtown.
I think it would be devastating.
Yeah.
Some of the businesses downtown anticipate getting more foot traffic, which would be correct. But I'm afraid what they would lose in the vehicular traffic of the people not being able to come downtown are refusing to come downtown because they can't park
Right.
will offset whatever foot traffic they may get from the local residents who do move into these new proposed apartments.
Right. And there are environmental concerns too, aren't there?
There's always environmental concerns, but I think they could be modified with proper planning and proper development, but it takes money to do that, and I'm not sure that all that's been factored into these projects because a lot of the downtown is in a flood zone, which brings
Yeah.
its own issues, and there are other issues with the infrastructure. The downtown was developed about 150 years ago initially, and a lot of the
Wow.
infrastructure, the water lines, sewer lines,
Yeah.
stormwater, are all quite old, probably need updating, and they
Probably.
can handle the current loads. But once you add massive new apartment buildings and lots of new people, I'm not sure the infrastructure was designed to handle that.
Yeah. What can a citizen do to get involved with this?
The first thing is there's a public meeting tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. The Planning and Zoning Commission is having a hearing on the request of the Salisbury Town Center Apartments to double the density. And that hearing's going to be tomorrow at 1:30.
Okay.
So they could attend that hearing and voice
Right.
their opinion. They could write to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They could also contact their city council members because the city council members and the mayor basically make the ultimate decision. It's up to the city council itself
Okay.
whether to approve whatever recommendation comes from the Planning and Zoning to double the density or not approve it.
Okay. That makes an interesting mix there, with the voting coming from the council. Is there any read on how that vote would take place at this point?
At this point, it's unclear because a couple of the members of the council, three of them, were on board when they approved these projects. I think only two of them voted for the project.
Okay.
So it's really totally up to them, and I think they should look at it with fresh eyes, with all the new information that has come out, and decide what is in the best interest for Salisbury and its citizens and its future, and specifically what would benefit downtown and the existing businesses, as well as the government office buildings and the court
Right.
systems that are down there. All of those depend on the parking situation,
Yeah.
and the parking has been sold off. 85% of the surface lots have been sold. And it's just incredible to me that they did such a thing, but that's history now.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
then double the density that you're allowed, which exacerbate the problem. I just don't understand the logic. So the city's got a lot of things to sort through.
Well, a lot of times when you have an enigma like that, you look for the dollar signs.
I think it's a negative for the city.
Yeah.
The cost of these buildings, they're giving, the Horizons gives them a tax break for 20 years.
Right.
They've waived all sewer and water collection fees, which means everybody else in the city's water bills will go up because these developers are not paying their fair share.
Right.
And they're also waiving development fees under Heroes Home to encourage development in the city, which has some merit, but the hit to the city finances is going to be substantial, and it's going to flow in the next few years.
Not the right time for that to occur.
There's never a good time to have negative financial impacts.
Maybe this is just worse than something else. Anyway, thank you so much for coming by. That was a very, very well put together discussion of this. I appreciate it. It's a complicated issue, and I would like people to go to what was the name of the website or the petition site?
There's a petition called Don't Strangle Downtown.
Don't Strangle Downtown. And that's .com?
I believe so. They can Google it and find out. And I'd
Google.
also like to thank PAC 14 for taking the time to make this information well known. This situation we're facing is very important. And I think the more people involved in the city of Salisbury in this discussion, the better.
You're absolutely correct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Billy Earl.
This has been Billy Earl on Eastern Shore Politics. You live, you go to restaurants, you go to businesses in downtown Salisbury. This affects everybody. Don't let this slide. Become involved, sign petitions, go to meetings, be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Thank you for watching. Namaste. See you on down the road, partner.